Well, I would say I think that this should be the end of Destiny 2. And if they want to continue to add on to the story, they can. But I feel like where we are as far as story campaign, I think we're in a really good spot, or we ended in a really good spot with the final shape. And yeah, I think we ended in a really good spot. So once the witness is gone, I think that's the Thanos of the story as I see it. So excuse me. I don't know if there's a reason to continue adding more story to it, because now it kind of feels like we're doing a lot of side quests and like wrapping things up, but they're treating it as it's new and a continuation, or the story is going to continue on to something else. And then I heard that we're going to have, well, Bungie's going to have to start taking more content out of the game because they're going to continue to add more to Destiny 2. And I mean, we've already paid for the content. So, and they've already unsunset the weapons that were sunset. I think it was after season 14. And so now I'm thinking, just, they unsunset everything. Just go ahead and end it, because now they're still going through weapon balancing. They're buffing certain weapons, nerfing certain weapons, and then players have to adjust or move on to something different in terms of what your loadout looks like. And I feel like we should be past that point, And then they brought weapons back like Mountaintop that were supposed to be overpowered. And so I think they just gave that a nerf as well. And I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of over them tweaking Destiny 2, and having them, just watching them take stuff out of the game to add more newer content. I just think that it should be over. I think it should be over. But it was a good run because I started during the Dark Below is when I jumped into Destiny 1. And then I just continued from there. I think I took a break maybe 2 or 3 times when they started the seasons, having seasonal content. But other than that, I think I've played every season. Oh, this looks pretty good. So I'm not much of a raider, and I really don't run dungeons. I've probably done that maybe twice during 10 years that I've been on the game. I've probably done a raid once, a dungeon once or twice. And other than that, I've been, I really started out, I don't want to say casual, but I played more of the low tier activities, seasonal activities, obviously. But some of the higher tier content, I didn't go up that far. And I guess as far as I've gone, I've been, well, as far as difficulty, I would say solo Lost Sectors. I don't know, Hero Nightfalls is about as difficult as I've run through. So some of the more coveted stuff in the game I don't have. So my focus right now is not really jumping into more story. My focus really, I think that they have to add more Crucible maps, even though I don't play PvP very much. I would say add more strikes, add more maps to Gambit, because I do play Gambit quite a bit. So the core activities of the game, I would say definitely improve those, add more content, add more maps. But in terms of story, I don't think that we should continue on with the story campaign or side quest or anything like that. I guess the issue that they're having too is that this is the only money maker for them, because they stopped the other projects, or they split up Bungie's departments. Some of them went to Sony, and then I think over 300 employees between the first set of layoffs was about 100 or so, and then the last set of layoffs was like 150 to 200, something like that. And then technically it has to be over 300 because like 150 employees got switched over to Sony, and I think 40 employees got switched to a subdivision that Sony's gonna have. So I'm like, that's not good. I mean, you can't really make the type of game that we're used to playing in terms of story campaigns with the amount of resources that they have. So yeah, I would say just have a team to manage D2, and like I said, add maps, strikes, maps to Crucible and Gambit, strikes for the Vanguard stuff, playlist. But other than that, I'm thinking the story should be over. Like, let's just wrap it up and move on to something else. But again, this is the only game that's making them money, and so I see why they want to continue that on. But the problem is if the new content that they bring out is subpar, then they're going to be losing money ultimately, because you're making new content which wouldn't be very good. So the player base wouldn't invest time and money into it like we have before. I'm not sure what I'm not sure what the best option would be other than ending it and managing just the core game. I definitely wouldn't take anything out of it and put it into the vault as far as locations and activities and things like that. But that's my thoughts on it. I just think, it's time. They said they wanted to run Destiny for 10 years. I think it's been 10 years. Next month will be 10 years. So, yeah. I think that should be it. And you just have, like I said, part of the team manage it. Excuse me. And then part of the team work on... I really do think they have to go into Destiny 3, because obviously they want to continue the Destiny storyline. But I just don't... I think that taking more content out of the game at this point where we're at right now, I think that's going to hurt the game. I think it's going to hurt the game. I mean, the perfect example is like they vaulted, or I should say sunset, a bunch of weapons, and then the weapons that they replaced them with, like, on that following season were not nearly as good. And it took us a while to get to where we are right now, where Like, how many of the weapons that were sunset do we miss? I would say a handful,
Yeah, so a
but
transaction to
not
make,
as much as I
Guardian?
thought. Not as much as I thought. Well, that's for me. I'm not sure about you guys. I'm not sure. But I would appreciate your comments, your feedback on where you stand with where Destiny should go from here. I know that we have the Heroes of Solstice right now started this week, and I'm just not enthusiastic to play it right now because we've had the same event for years. So at this point, I just feel like I don't have as much time to play as I used to. And so I need to get my characters to a point where they hit the pinnacle cap. So that's what I'm trying to get to now, is the pinnacle cap, which I think is 2,000. Is the pinnacle cap, and I'm at my highest. Like, my prime Ingrams are dropping at 1991. So it's gonna take a little bit to get to that point. I've been grinding through the reputation for the vendors, namely Banshee, Drifter, Zavala, Cryptarch. And then once that's done, I haven't even run Hunter and Titan through the story campaign for Final Shape yet. So I'm gonna do that.
Trust me.
And Warlock is he's caught up pretty much. But the only thing I'm focusing on now is the Echoes. Step 12 of 28. Solstice, I mean, and that's the problem. Like, that's why I want them to start another game. I want them to start a Destiny 3, because the seasonal structure, or even the episode structure, I mean, you go through some story, but you end up having to play the same activity over and over again. And I think the community has already expressed our we don't want to run the same activity 100 times every season, or every episode. And so that's why I think that they should just, cut D2 off, start D3, and work on the story campaign. And of course, the story campaign for D3 will have side quests and all that. But I think the meat of it is we have to have a new story, because at this point it's like I'm not running the seasonal activities a lot. I'm just not. I don't, because we've been doing it for years at this point. It's like, even to do the weekly challenge, you have to run Breach executable 3 times for the T2 powerful gear, the pinnacle gear drop. And then you have to run Battleground Echoes 3 times for the pinnacle drop. So it's like, after a while, and then I got 3 characters and I have to keep running the same activities over and over again. It's like, I need story. Different missions, obviously, throughout the story, different locations, just different, But once I run through it a few times with Warlock, I don't even want to jump on stuff like this with my other 2 characters. So I am glad at this point that they made the power grind account wide. So that sped up the process as far as getting to the pinnacle cap. But other than that, it's like, what am I actually doing to get to the pinnacle cap? I have to run these seasonal activities a lot. So this will be 3 times between all 3 characters, so that's 9 runs. This is another 9 runs, so this is 18 runs per week. Which doesn't sound terrible, but I only play the game probably 2, maybe 3 days out of a week before the weekly reset. So when I do have a few hours to play, I don't want to spend that playing the same activity over and over again. I played a bunch of Gambit. I've already reset my seasonal, my rank with Drifter. So I'm not excited about playing Gambit anymore. But the only thing is that every time you hit a major rank at the vendor, you get a powerful gear drop.
How you living?
So yeah, once you reset it, your rep the first time after the first one, the second time around you do get the ornament, but yeah, as far as helping you get to the pinnacle cap, it's not going to do that. It's not going to help you at all.
See you on Europa, brother.
But yeah, like I said, I'll be looking at everyone's feedback on this, and that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the season. Is just catching up on the story campaign. I have to run Hunter and Titan through the story campaign. I have to run Warlock through the rest of the Echoes storyline.
The pyramid's approach fills me with
I haven't seen too many spoilers
despite
at
being
this point,
surrounded by guardians,
but I just feel like
I can't imagine
we
what the Armory founders
definitely
felt
need
like
something
during the
different
collapse.
because I don't want to fight any more Vex,
Yes.
or Cabal, or Fallen, or Hive. It's like because we've been fighting the same enemies for years. The Taken is kind of a alternate to those. Same thing for the Scorn. So we had to wait until the final shape to really get a class of new enemies added to the game. So yeah, we definitely need, more of that. So yeah, I'm definitely thinking D3, and also I would say go to D3 because that would allow Bungie to leave the weapons alone. Like, stop nerfing and buffing things. If it's OP, it's not going to break the game for the most part. Yeah. So I would just say leave stuff alone. Oh, this is a shader I actually don't have. This is a rarity. But yeah, and there's a bunch of, side quests I haven't done in the game in general. And I'm getting myself to the point where I can actually play raids, dungeons, the higher tier content. That's what I'm building myself up to right at this point. And I just feel like as long as they continue to keep the game going, it'll be fine.
Very well.
It'll be fine. So yeah, not closing the game, because then if they do, they're not going to have any source of income. But in terms of trying to drag this out, definitely not. Definitely not. Don't go into that. But I don't know if everybody's where I'm at this point. So yeah. All right. So that's all I have for right now. Everybody take care.